I was at Old Trafford last night. Dear me. Brighton with us, almost Brighton reserves.
When it was Brighton reserves, that's when Man United had gone out of the cup to Brighton. No, they haven't gone out of the cup to Brighton reserves, And when I saw the Brighton side, and I texted my lad who's a Brighton fan, and said, your manager's got to be on drugs.
I know.
I said, because no goalkeeper, well, there was a goalkeeper, but obviously reserve goalkeeper, both first-choice centre-halves left out, no Matoma was on the bench, no De Kuyper, no Minter, no Baleba. I mean, they were there for the taking. In theory.
Anything but.
They won at the... I'll be honest, I thought they won at a canter, apart from the last few minutes when there was a bit of nerve set in then.
I couldn't agree more. And if you're not going to get the last couple of minutes in, you'd be totally surprised. No, I thought, if not dominating the game, I thought they were extremely comfortable. Really comfortable. 2 good goals, particularly the second one. I mean, Gruda does really well with the first one. Good header. It's a good ball in initially from Welbeck, who he looks lively. He looks really lively, and then just his movement's good, and then he scores an absolutely terrific second goal, Jeff. Brilliant goal, and United are kind of huffing and puffing. There's no real. I don't know if energy is the right word, but they certainly look lacking. I heard Darren say after the game they look a little bit lacking in confidence. That certainly looks the case, But no, they've got problems, and that's the earliest the season. It's the least amount of games they've played in a season now. I think it's in 1915 or something.
And I think financially, and fans don't care, but financially, it's a disaster for United.
Oh yeah,
it's a disaster that they've got so few games to come. But look, and the things we'll talk about, obviously. They're going to replace a stand-in manager with a stand-in manager. I mean, biggest club in the world? Hello.
I'm with you. I heard one of the guys on earlier on just before we come on. I mean, if you're going to change your manager, then change the manager. But for the life of me, I'm not going to. I don't really understand. As much as I like Michael Carrick and all he's been there before, if they're not going to get the job full time, is there any real point in changing Darren Fletcher? Is there?
Well, not in my view.
I don't think so either.
Because
by the way,
what are they hoping to achieve? Then with the best will in the world, well, okay, they can qualify the Champions League, we know that. But aside from that, there are no cups to be won anymore.
All they've got for is the Champions League, right? And it's massive to play for. So I'm thinking to myself, and here's the flip side of the coin as well. What if Michael Carrick comes in and actually gets them Champions League football after them saying he's a stand-in? Does that give them another headache?
Of course it does. It's just a mess. I mean, it's just a mess. But I'll tell you what, the one thing I would say is Darren Fletcher thinks he had a bad weekend. He should have been at Woking Hartlepool on Saturday, like I was. And while you've been away, we've got a new owner. And this was the first game under him. Now, he wasn't there because he's in the Midwest in the States. And he's coming to his first game next week. And I got a text on the Saturday morning saying, start of a new era, Jeff. How exciting is this? We got stuffed 4-0. Had a player sent off in the first half of the game. We were lucky, as they say, to get 0 because it could have been far more. I went, oh, for goodness sake. Anyway.
The only way is up.
Yeah, well, actually, unfortunately, that's not the case.
Or as Mick would say, it can.
Yeah. Anyway,
but overall, good for the club. That's the most important thing.
Excuse me. I'm hoping so and assuming so.
Yeah.
But it was just a terrible way to start. Not to worry. Let's talk a bit more about United, shall we? Because I mentioned Darren Fletcher. So, his caretaker, it looks like it's over. Caretaker, call it interim now. We used to call it caretaker, didn't we?
Yeah.
There's been a draw against relegation-threatened Burnley.
Which they should have won, to be fair. Yeah. There were 30 shots and, an own goal. I watched extended highlights of that game.
Should have won, but didn't. And that's the point, and defeat against Brighton. Let's just hear what he made of yesterday's performance.
Good in parts, obviously lots to improve on. I felt like we started well with a good energy. I think their goal really affected us and we've got to learn to deal with that. Disappointment's a part of football and it took us a long time to recover from that. But when we moved the ball quick with tempo, we looked like a good team. We just didn't do that for long enough spells in the game.
Darlow, I know what he means. I mean, Darlow should have scored in the first 2 minutes, to be honest. And then
But Coisty, they started well with a good tempo. They're at home in an FA Cup tie. Everybody starts well with a good tempo, don't they?
Oh, definitely. No, I know. I just think the problems are deeper. I mean, they brought the young lad on, and he looked lively, and then obviously
He did.
an experience gets sent off. That wasn't Lacey, and I felt for him a little bit, but you can't be reacting like that. And Buemo and Amadiala, they're missing obviously with AFCON. But, Jeff, I think in my notes, I'm almost sure, I've not got it from last night, I think they've had 2 clean sheets this season. You can't, if you're not defending right, you're not going to win games.
No.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're starting the game thinking we're going to have to score at least 2 goals to win it every game, I think they've had 2 clean sheets against the northeast sides, unless I'm mistaken. And they just don't, they give up chances. They don't look 100% solid at the back.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got a little bit up front. I think they're better up front. I know Mbuemo was away, and Cunha who didn't play particularly well last night. I think he's better than what they've had. But Manu did okay first half. I thought he did all right, but no, you know what I mean?
I think that's a big issue. That role of shielding that back 4 or back 3, whichever, I think it's a massive issue because I don't think they've got anybody capable of doing it. I certainly don't think Ugarte is capable of doing it.
I don't know what, I'm not sure what he brings to the party, Ugarte. I watch him and he's tidy, but I think at Manchester United, you need to be more than tidy. I think you've got to bring something. You've got to be exceptional in your position. I just think, full-back areas as well.
Yeah.
I just think there's an enormous amount of work.
You are so right. They're much, going forward, they do have a threat. There's no question they've got a threat. And the ones that you mentioned, and when Amad Diallo comes back as well, there'll be another threat there. Mason Mount looked lost, yesterday.
Yeah, he did. I think he's actually improved.
I do too.
I do. But I definitely take your point. I thought last night was one of his poorer games.
Yeah. Look, it's a mess, and what people from the outside looking in will say is, what is this about this old boys club? Darren Fletcher in charge now, and now we're going to look at Michael Carrick, or maybe we look at Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. What? This is a huge club. Why aren't they looking for the best man for the blooming job
in the world?
Yeah,
in the globe. I'm with you. I'm with you. I mean, if Manchester United of old would have been sniffing about whether it's Luis Enrique, Zidane, all these guys.
Yeah.
The guys that are at the Ancelotti, the best in the business. That's where they would, in previous years, they'd have been associated with. Yeah. And I don't know whether it's, the decline in the club over the years that have, I don't know, knocked everybody's certainly everybody's confidence within the club. I mean, and it was strange, and Dan Fletcher, my commentator last night, said something, and I didn't really notice, and it was kind of strange. It was kind of strange, Jeff. Final whistle blew, and kind of that was it.
Silence, wasn't it?
It was silence.
Yeah.
There was nothing, and I said it was as if there was a kind of acceptance of where we are now, as much as anything. And the longer it goes on, the longer it will continue. And Jeff, I mean, it's how long is it since they won the league with Sir Alex? They're miles off it.
Yeah, they are. I mean, they're absolutely miles off. And I wonder what Ruben Amorim was thinking in Portugal. Eh?
Yeah, I know.
So maybe it wasn't all down to him after all.
That's another one we'll talk about. I can understand the dismissal, and it didn't come as a major surprise to me. However, the timing of that did. Because I actually I genuinely thought I could see a little bit of improvement in his team and in his results. Yeah. So I thought if he was going to get it, he might have got it when Grimsby beat him in the League Cup a while ago and things like that. Yeah. So the timing of that surprised me ever so slightly.
Yeah, the whole thing's a mess, isn't it? Let's be brutally honest. Jill is a big Man United fan, as you know, says, Jeff and Coisty, don't go too hard, please. Already depressed you and all the rest of the Manchester United supporters. Jill in